What's up, Scrappy peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and it's time for some Grab 5. Now, Grab 5, if you are a new subscriber, it's something I created a number of years ago, probably about 4 years ago now, I'm thinking. And it's a great way to use up some older pieces from your stash and kind of take out some of the overload that we can feel when we're paper crafting sometimes. So all you do is you grab 5 things from your stash. They can be new, old, half used, it doesn't matter, and you use them on a page. So I'm using this paper pad, which is quite old and has been around for a little while. I've got a set of stickers from the Reset Girl. I have some journaling cards from my most recent Citrus Twist goodies that I got in the mail. I have those gorgeous little bunny stickers. A beautiful subscriber sent them to me, and I've had them sitting on my desk waiting for a project to use, so I'm glad I get to use those. And then the other thing are these buttons. There's this packet of embellishments that has been floating around in my room for so long, and doing a Grab 5 is a great way to dig into some of those half-used sticker sheets in your stash, because you can pair something that you're maybe a little bit tired of, or is an older style, or maybe colours that you don't gravitate towards straight away anymore, and you can pair it with maybe a newer product or something in your craft room that you're really loving, and it just helps it get a little bit more used. Because I don't know about you guys, but I certainly forget about sticker sheets. I think after it's sometimes when you look at them too many times and you're just sick of looking at them for a little while. So I like to include them here. So I'm going through, and this is a double page spread in my 2019 album, which is a 12 by 12 album, but I like to use inserts and smaller layouts and things in there as well. And I should be using a paper trimmer, but alas, I have no time to measure things, and I am, if you are a new inklet, I'm a little bit of a rebel when it comes to using paper trimmers. I tend to just go ham with my scissors and hope for the best. So I'm cutting some of these papers down to 3x4 and 4x6 size, and I'm just using one of the other actual manufactured journaling cards from Citrus Twist as my measurement guide to know how big or small they need to be. So the first thing I always like to do is figure out where on earth all the cards are going. And typically I like to make sure that there's a bit of a continuity if I'm doing a double page. So I'm making sure that there's a bit of pink on both sides, there's a little bit of that light blue on both sides, just to make them seamlessly tied together a little bit. I am including this week this little Facebook post from a house that Aaron and I used to live in. We lived with a couple of friends at, if you're familiar with the east coast of Australia, we lived at Avoca Beach, and we had the most incredible view in this house. It was just incredible. It was just beautiful. And so this was the view from our veranda, and it was just looking out at the beach, and we'd have lovely sunsets. And we only lived here for a year, but I do miss this house, and I feel like we didn't take advantage of those views as much as we could have. We often sat inside for dinner when we could be sitting outside looking at this lovely view. So I do miss it a lot. It was a fun house to live in. It was an interesting house, actually. I drove past it the other day, and it hasn't changed at all. This was the year we got married, so 7 years ago. Yes, we moved in 8 years ago, so quite a while. And it wasn't a new house. It was probably built, or maybe in the 70s or so. It was a weatherboard wooden planky house, and it was really great because Aaron and I lived downstairs, and we had a 2-bedroom kind of, I don't know what the proper name for it was, but it was like we had our own house downstairs. We had 2-bedroom, we had our own lounge room, dining room, bedroom, bathroom, laundry, kitchen. We had just our self-contained pit, and then Our two friends shared upstairs. One of them had the top floor. So there was 3 stories in this house, and it was blissful. And it was nice because we could hang out together, but we also had our own, everyone had their own level of the house. And so whenever memories of that house pop up in my Facebook feed, I always like to screenshot them and include them in my project life just to remember. And I think that I wish I had taken more photos of the everyday in this house. So things like, what our kitchen looked like, or, a photo of us sitting at our dining table eating dinner one night, because it's so different to the house that we live in now. And I wish that I had more memories of the smaller things. So this was actually the year that I started Project Life in this house in 2013. And I don't think I was aware of taking photos and documenting the little moments as much back then as I am perhaps now. And so that's something, if you have only just started Project Life, or if you're someone who, feels like their project life needs a bit of a boost or a bit of a turnaround or a challenge, or if you're someone who feels like that, because I've talked to lots of people that say that they don't do anything. You don't have to do things to keep a Project Life album. Take photos of what your TV stand looks like at the moment. Take photos of your favourite books that you're reading on your nightstand, or take photos of a meal that you've prepared on your dining table in your dining room. And it's just those little things that in years to come will probably change, inevitably. Everything kind of changes, and it's nice to have a bit of a record of them. So I've got these little stickers, and they are so darling. If you are the subscriber that sent me these, thank you so much. They're so adorable. And there's tons of them, so they'll last me for a really long time. And they're clear stickers, so I wanted to make sure that I was sticking it onto a surface that had a white background so that you could see it better. I am using those wooden buttons, and I don't think I use them all on this page, but I did use them on another project and that's another great thing about Grab 5 is that you use maybe a sheet of embellishments that you haven't touched for a year or 2 or 5 or 10, and because you've used it once, it kind of reignites it. And if you leave it on your tabletop, maybe you've got a little bowl or a tiny little container that you can keep a few 5 or 10 sheets of older products in. If you have them right in eyesight, it's so much easier to get them used. So if you are like me at the moment and you're at home and kind of need a bit of something to do, need something different to do than the everyday new normal that we're currently going through, have a look in your craft room, see if you can find a little container in your house, even if it's a cereal box or some sort of small boxy container, and choose 10 sticker sheets or embellishment sheets from your stash, put them in that box, and see how many you can get through by the time life goes back to normal, which may be a matter of months. Let's hope it's not years. But just pop it straight on your tabletop, and you never know what might happen. I'm using these little tiny alphas, and they're my new favourites. They're from Citrus Twist. Have I uploaded that? I think I have, or maybe it's coming next. It's the next PL, but I did order a heap of stuff from there, and not sponsored, full price, paid for it my own money. And I've been slowly chipping away, and I get, sometimes when I would do an online order, or I get a beautiful new piece of happy mail with lots of goodies in there, I get too excited and I want to just use those things from now on and forget about the rest. And so I'm trying to slowly inch in a couple of new things with some of my old ones so that I don't use up all my new things and then get sad, because that's possible. Now this photo, this was was it Snapchat? It must have been a Snapchat filter. So that is not me with a very old Aaron. It's just a Snapchat filter. And we were playing around with what we'd look like in several years' time, maybe only in a couple of years' time if the three-nager stage that we're going through at the moment continues. I might be going grey a few years early. No, we'll get there. We'll get there. Just deep breaths, so we'll get through the age of 3. So for this one, this was when Violet was, of course, still in my belly, and I went to a scrapbook retreat. So I went to my beautiful friend Anita has a scrapbook retreat called the Flutterby Create by the Lake Escape, and she has a scrapbook company called Flutterby Designs. If you are looking for some new scrappy goodies in your life, I know she's just released a new collection over there. And I wasn't going to go to her retreat because I had such a sick first trimester, quite different to when I was pregnant with Arch, and lots of nausea. I wasn't eating, that kind of thing. And this retreat was about, I think it's about it works out as about 6.5 hours away from my house, which is a fair way if I wasn't feeling well or if something was not going to plan. And I had planned to go to no retreats in 2019, and which was tricky because a couple of my bestest scrappy pals run retreats, and I love to go to them, and it's usually the only time that I get to catch up with scrappy friends because we don't live around the corner from each other. And I had seen my group of scrappy girls the weekend before this retreat, and we had done a mixed media class together, and they had stayed at my house because it was local to me. And they convinced me, and they convinced Aaron ganged up on me as well, to go to the retreat because they could squeeze in an extra spot. And I'm really glad that I went. It was much needed. I needed a break, and I'm very grateful for the happiness that retreats has brought me. And looking back at it now, I know I've talked about this before, but I went to my first retreat not knowing a single person. I didn't know anyone in real life. I can't believe I went. I must have been on real self-confidence kick when I did, because I think fast forward, if I hadn't have been to a retreat and I was going to my first one now, I would be so much more nervous now. And I don't know why that is. But if you are able to go to a crop or to go to some sort of scrappy day, even if you don't know anyone like I did, give it a go, and you might be pleasantly surprised. You might not like it, and that's normal. But give it a second try, because every scrapbook retreat is different. The vibe is very different, and especially, I'm not sure where you're from, but there's quite a few around where I live, and the atmosphere of the room can change greatly from one to another. So this is a pic of Archie and I FaceTiming while I was away. So Aaron very sweetly had Arch under control for the 4 days that I was away. Luckily, 2 of those days Arch was at daycare, so Aaron could still work, which was good. But I wanted to take a screenshot of this because he grew, this was almost a year ago now. This was in July last year, and his ability to FaceTime now, I think with all of this fun adventure that we're going through our global pandemic at the moment, his ability to video chat has changed so much. And it's funny to look back on this photo, and he didn't understand that he was really talking to me properly, and he was just like making noises or trying to point to things on the floor, whereas now he will pick up things and show them to the camera because he's been video chatting with quite a few people recently. And yeah, it's just interesting to see how much has changed in just a year. So for this card, this probably is my favourite, and I love the colours in this background card. I'm finally, this tag was on that sticker sheet with all of the button embellishments, and I wasn't going to use it. I didn't really have anything thanks worthy. It seemed like more of an embellishment that you would put on a card perhaps, and so I just cut out the embellishment. So if you've ever got a Project Life card or an embellishment that isn't completely right, feel free to chop half of it off and use it however you can see fit to use it in your scrapping. It doesn't have to be exactly used how it's manufactured on the sticker sheet. You can do whatever you like with it. And I know this sounds silly, but I never thought you could do that when I started scrapbooking. So I always like to say things like that so that if there's even just one person out there that I can help give a different perspective to look at your stickers, then I feel excited that I could help someone. So for this one, I am trying to also use up some enamel dot stickers because I don't know about you peeps, but I struggle to use the big ones. I much prefer the small ones, and I find the big ones very difficult to use up. So I'm trying to go through those, even though I only used small ones there. And that heart sticker sheet, I get asked every time I pull it out where it's from. I got it on eBay probably a couple of years ago now, and I can't find them again. So if I ever do come across them, I will let you know, and I will share it in my Facebook group, Scrapaholics Anonymous. The link's in the description if you want to come and join us. But it's very difficult to find, and I need more of them. So I need to try and find them. By the way, speaking of Scrapaholics Anonymous, if you are on Facebook and you want a bit of a crafty crew to share your thoughts with and share your projects and challenges, then come on over. We've got over 18,000 members now, which just blows my mind. I think I created it maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I think maybe 5. And it's such a fun place to for people to ask questions and to share what you're working on. And it's a no selling group, so you don't have to worry about being bombarded by advertisements or people selling retreats or digital classes or crops or any of that. It's just a place to happily share and relax and get scrappy. So this is another thing that I'm trying to use. I'm trying to use washi tape because my collection is bursting at its seams, and I've got so many rolls that are very close to being finished. So I'm trying to use them up and try and inevitably fill their holes with new washi tape, but we won't go there yet. We'll just accidentally look surprised when that inevitably happens and I don't end up with an empty washi drawer. This one, while I was away, Archie learned how to put his thumbs up, which was really sweet because he always would just put up his pointer finger instead of his actual thumb. And so Aaron sent me a photo of him, and so I screenshotted the message and his photo, which was very sweet because he'd been working on thumbs up for months. I don't know what it was. He just always pointed the finger, but he could point to his thumb, but he just couldn't physically do a thumbs up. But here is the finished page. Let me know if you like to include inserts in your scrapbooking, in your project life. And if you've given Grab 5 a try, I know a lot of YouTubers have gone off and taken that idea and grown it into their own videos. And it's great to see people giving Grab 5 a try and using up some of our stash, because we've all got little bits and pieces hidden away in our craft spaces that we have forgotten about. All right, peeps, I hope you have a fantastic week and that you're safe and healthy and doing okay where you are in the world. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you soon. Bye.